What's up, guys? It is I, RGT85. Happy Monday, but of course, we've got some video game news to talk about. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be sure to like and share the video, and without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games. We're going to start things off with the Halo Infinite situation. A lot of people are talking about this. I just want to put in my 2 cents very briefly on what I think about this, and maybe I'll persuade you to think a little bit differently about this situation. So we learned a couple days ago that Halo Infinite is launching without a co-op campaign mode available and without the Forge mode available. And since then, we've had a lot of people coming out and saying, oh, they need to delay this game. It's obviously not ready, so on and so forth. But I kind of disagree with that. And I'm going to try to explain why in the easiest way possible, because to me, this isn't a game that you really want to delay anymore. So looking at the holiday landscape, Halo Infinite is one of the biggest games for the holiday season. Like, this is going to be a big exclusive for the Xbox brand. This is one of the bigger Xbox exclusives that we've gotten recently. This is something that a lot of people are going to want to pick up Game Pass for, which we'll talk about in just a minute with how that relates to this game. So I think that a delay for this game would hurt. When you look at a company like Sony, they can afford to delay some stuff. You know, they've had a lot of bangers over the past 2 years. You could say the same thing about the Nintendo Switch, whereas with Xbox, it's definitely been a bit more barren as far as exclusive games are concerned. But really what I think this boils down to is this isn't a game that was ever really designed to be completely done on day one. Think about it. When you look at other Halo games, like, you pretty much got your campaign, you got your multiplayer, and then maybe you got some additional maps down the road as DLC, and like, that was it. But with Halo Infinite, we've known about this game for so long, and we've known one thing: this is a more of a live service sort of Halo thing. This is not going to be a game where they just, you know, release it and then they do a DLC pack for some additional maps and then that's it. This is a game that 343 Studios has said since the get-go is not going to be a game like that. It's going to have like a 10-year lifespan is what they're aiming for as far as adding new content into this game. So when people are saying, oh, well, when you buy the physical version of the game, you won't be able to play the co-op mode in campaign and you won't be able to get Forge mode without downloading it, think about what you're saying for a second. Because yes, you can play the co-op mode offline, but most of those people are going to play it online, which means that you have to connect to a server in order to go online, in order to do things like Forge mode, in order to do things like the co-op campaign. So once again, you are pretty much stuck with the servers of this game. If the servers of this game go down, then yes, you won't be able to play those modes, but in order to play those modes, you actually have to go online. So to me, this is sort of just a non-issue. Like, I get it, there are people that are upset about it, and I completely understand it, but really with this game, we've known that this is going to be a live service game. People are saying, oh, well, your disc is kind of pointless, you know, as far as a physical copy is concerned. Newsflash, every game that you play on the Xbox and the PlayStation systems are like that. They are contingent on servers being up because you have to download massive portions of the game anyways. The disc is just sort of like a little key that says, hey, I bought this game, but there's nothing on this disc, so I have to download it anyways. I feel like Halo's strongest component is the online stuff in the game, and the fact that you can still play the campaign just by yourself shows me that this game isn't needed to be delayed. I think they need to get this game out, and yes, it's not going to be the complete version of Halo Infinite, but the complete version of Halo Infinite isn't going to come out for like 10 years if 343 Studios sticks to what they say. So I don't know, I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a different perspective on this. I am looking forward to Halo Infinite. I'm not bothered by the fact that these modes won't be available on launch, just because of the fact that this is an ongoing game. This is a game that's going to be constantly changing, constantly having stuff added to it, so it's not like the day one experience is going to be a complete version of the game anyways, no matter what releases. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this. I'm sure this will be a very hot topic, but I just wanted to sort of bring some points to your guys' attention to see if maybe you think a little differently about it. Next up, we have a big video game event happening this week with Gamescom 2021, taking place starting this Wednesday, August 25th, and going on for about 2 days. And of course, Jeff Keighley is involved with this, because any sort of video game event, Jeff Keighley needs to be there. He needs to be the host of it. It's kind of weird, just like how often Keighley sticks his nose and stuff. Like, you know, no disrespect to the guy, but maybe give some other people some shine. Maybe give some other people the chance to host these events. Do we even really need a host for these events? events. Like, I feel like just show video games. I don't need to hear you talking and, you know, your little corny jokes and stuff like that. But, you know, Keighley is Keighley, so it is what it is. But there's going to be some announcements at this event, and one of the announcements that we learned about is evidently a Saints Row reboot. So I am looking forward to seeing that. I like the Saints Row games. I think they're really fun. So I'm curious to see what sort of direction they're going to take Saints Row as far as this reboot is concerned. Of course, you know, as far as open world GTA style games, we know that Grand Theft Auto 6 probably isn't coming out anytime soon. So Saints Row could sort of swoop in and be one of the games that's designed with the next generation of consoles in mind and really take advantage of the power of this system. But the other announcement is a bit more interesting to me, and that's that we're getting a new trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredders Revenge. Now, this game was first showcased earlier this year. It looks absolutely awesome. Like, I am totally on board with this game. It definitely has that retro feel to it as far as the Turtles games are concerned. You get a lot of vibes of like Turtles in Time, Hyperstone Heist, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. It has the classic characters in it. The characters are designed as far as the animation style as to be, you know, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that a lot of the old men grew up with and grew up watching. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. But there's one thing I've been thinking about with this game, and there's one thing that I think kind of makes sense and has potential to be happening. Could Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredders Revenge get that new trailer and then actually come out this week, be a stealth drop for Gamescom? This would be a big announcement for Gamescom. A lot of people thought it was weird that this game was not at the Nintendo Indie World presentation, myself included. I fully expected this game to be there because, of course, we got a more in-depth trailer on it earlier this year on a Nintendo Direct themselves. So I felt like this game was going to be at the Indie World presentation. They were probably going to end the presentation with a trailer for this game and give a release date, but they didn't. Gamescom obviously is a bit of a bigger stage as far as worldwide appeal and of course across all platforms. So could Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredders Revenge actually get a stealth release this week? I think the potential is there when you look at the timeline of events, when you look at how this game is supposed to be coming out very soon. A lot of us anticipated this game coming out in August or September just due to what the developer said, and pending any sort of delays or anything like that or production problems with this game, I think this game is probably ready to go. I mean, it's not the most in-depth game in the world. It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. It's a game where you're, you know, going through waves of foot soldiers and things like that. So I would not be super surprised if this game ends up launching this week as a stealth drop. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying I have any inside information, but just looking at the timeline of events, I definitely think there is some thought that needs to go into the fact that this game could potentially be coming out this week. And that would make me a very, very excited little boy because, you know, I'm just a kid at heart at the end of the day. And finally, we're going to talk about a very interesting situation that's currently happening with the Nintendo Switch eShop that exposes a major problem with it. Now, I have been very vocal about what I feel about the Nintendo Switch's eShop. I think it's clunky, I think it's hard to navigate, I think it's slow, and I think just the fact that there's so many games on the Nintendo Switch, it's hard to find the game that's for you. But something that's becoming more and more prevalent on the Nintendo Switch are just lazy asset flips of games, and it kind of harkens back to the Wii U era of games where developers would come along and make these crappy little mobile games that they would steal and basically asset flip these games and then make it their own sort of game and then release it for a price and then make money on it. And people would look at these games and be like, oh, they're cheap, I don't really care, I might buy it and check it out. But now it's becoming more and more prevalent on the Nintendo Switch, and a Reddit user by the name of Caspian X2 actually brought this up in a topic. So big shout outs to them. I will have a link to this in the description box down below, but this situation is just absolutely ridiculous. So evidently a game released a couple days ago on the Nintendo Switch eShop that was published by a company called Ultimate Games called Metal Commando. Now when you look at this game, obviously it is a Metal Slug ripoff. Like, that's not a bad thing or anything like that. I'm not saying that this is a Metal Slug game that this company published and stole or whatnot, but it looks like a Metal Slug game, and Metal Slug games are fun. Of course, we are getting Metal Slug Tactics, which, I mean, I flip-flopped on it. I'm going to keep it real, but, you know, I'm happy that it's coming to consoles now. I thought it was going to be a PC-only game, but back to Metal Commando. It looks like a 2D run-and-gun game. It looks really fun, and it looks like a decent enough game. And like I said, this game just released on the Nintendo Switch eShop very recently. So what's the problem then? Do I think that they're ripping off Metal Slug? No, I mean, obviously it's inspired by them, but this obviously wouldn't be big enough to make a big deal about it. But here's where things get very interesting, because this upcoming week, there's a game called Titans Black Ops coming out. And looking at the listing for this game, it looks a little bit familiar. It looks like what we just talked about. It looks like Metal Commando. Like literally everything about this game looks like Metal Commando. You can even see that there's an NZT Corporation sign in one of the pictures, and actually all of the pictures for this game. And allegedly NZT is the company that actually developed this game, and they were published by a company called Ultimate Games. So what the hell is this game then? Why would they be releasing the exact same game once again? Well, they're not. The company that's actually releasing this is an individual by the name of Benjamin Kistler. Now, I'm thinking that that is sort of a pen name, you know, sort of like a Mark Twain situation, because when you look at the games done by Benjamin Kistler, yeah, there's a problem here. So looking at the list of games that is listed on Nintendo Life, look at the release date for some of these games. July 15th, May 7th, July 22nd. This man is literally churning out games week after week after week. And call me crazy, call me absolutely insane, but I feel like this person isn't developing these games himself. I don't think that he's spending hundreds of hours developing these games and then releasing quality titles every week. When you look at some of the games that have already released on the Nintendo Switch's eShop by Benjamin Kistler, they're not good. They're clearly crappy mobile games that have been maybe reskinned, or maybe they're just fair use assets that he's using, and then he's releasing these games on the Nintendo Switch's eShop. He's already been accused of asset flips before in the past, but this one is very brazen, just judging by the release of these games, because somebody had to have made this Metal Commando game or Titan's Black Ops, one way or the other. Obviously, this is a game that was created. Obviously, it probably wasn't a game that took a whole hell of a lot of work. There's probably some fair use assets used in this. You could purchase asset packs when you're developing games via Unity and things like that, and then you could tweak the assets to your liking, or you can actually release just a game with the bare bones assets. Now, it's kind of frowned upon, but a lot of these are fair use as far as the assets are concerned, so that's why people make these sort of games. Either way though, no matter what the situation is, maybe this is a free asset pack that the developer of the game NZT used to make this game, and then Benjamin Kistler also used this asset pack to make this game. I don't really care about that. My problem is, this is the same freaking game releasing twice for the Nintendo Switch within a week. One version of the game is $3.49. The Titan Black Ops version of the game is $6.99. This is a major eShop problem. This should not be happening. We should not have duplicate games releasing on the Nintendo Switch's eShop. Now, I'm all for people being creative with their games, and I don't really like quality control or content control when it comes to things like this, but this is a growing problem with things like asset flips, with things like games being re-released with just different assets as far as they're concerned on the Nintendo Switch's eShop, and this problem is growing, and now I feel like it's finally coming to a head because Nintendo needs to do something about this. There does need to be at least bare minimum quality control. Like, look at the game when it's submitted to you and think, and you know, look and see if this game has been submitted to you in the past, or if there's a game that's super similar to it on the Nintendo Switch's eShop, because this just is a bad look for the eShop in general. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry can just throw any nonsense up on the Nintendo Switch and then get their game out there, and it's like people are getting ripped off by this. This is a huge ripoff and a huge problem. So I'm very interested to see if anything ends up happening with this. If Ultimate Games comes out as the publisher of the original game Metal Commando and says something to this Benjamin Kistler individual, but one way or another, something needs to be done about this because it's getting worse and worse, and I feel like this is a boiling point for it. So a big shout out to Caspian X2 over on Reddit. I will have a link to his thread in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys check it out. There's lots of cool examples about what Benjamin Kistler has done before in the past, but this is a problem. This is a major problem, and it's something that needs to be addressed ASAP. Alrighty, so that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like and share the video as well. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next one. Later.